Hello, and good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everyone. Welcome in. It's lovely to be here. Welcome, welcome, and hello. I hope you are well. I hope you had good weekends. Happy Monday, everybody. And hi. Hello, hello, hello. Let me say hello to the chat real quick. Who's here? Ernesto, happy Monday to you too. Happy merry year of the HONSE mimicry. Welcome in. Hello. Bambi. I'm basically painting a Ponita. Yes, I'm basically as soon as I realized what the Lunar New Year was bringing about in terms of the thingies, I was like, oh my god, it's Ponita. So yeah, basically I'm painting Bonita. Anyways, hi. Hope you are all well. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. That was a tired hello. You okay? No, I'm no. Also, hi Joe. Welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Hello. Sorry, this isn't meant to be like a dramatic reveal of what's on my paper. I just put these paints out because these are the paints I want to use today. I'm swapping out. I'm putting my Frog and Toad palette away, and we are using my Lunar Red Rock palette for this because it feels appropriate because it's got a lot of rich, sort of earthy red, fiery hues, but also like a weirdly vibrant green, and I feel like the contrast between the two is going to be just what I want here. So we shall give it a go. Oh my god, these paints are sticky. It's been humid in this room, I think, because these paints are sticky. Anyways, I was having a bit of a what shall I say, an existential crisis of some description before stream started, and I'm trying to psych myself out of that so I'm fun to be around. Here's hoping I've succeeded. But anyways, but I had a nice weekend. I hope y'all had a nice weekend. It was my wedding anniversary this weekend, so we celebrated accordingly. We had a fairly subdued anniversary weekend this year because the weather was lousy, and last anniversary the weather was lousy and we went away for a few days and I got sick and the trains were awful, so we decided to just stay at home. I baked a cake on Saturday, which was our anniversary day, and we had that 2 days running because I made enough for 2 days worth of cake, and then we went out for a delicious Japanese lunch yesterday. And I made Japanese food for dinner as well. So that was impeccably planned on our part. But, like, I'm never going to complain about Japanese food. So hell yeah, it was wonderful. And I'm very happy that we did that. Anywho. The meal was mostly an assemblage of sushis he had some gyoza, and I had agadashi tofu, which is one of my favorite things to get, but only when I'm out at a restaurant because I'm not doing it at home. I don't fry things really at home because of various reasons. So I get them when I go out. But also I would never get agadashi tofu delivered because I had it delivered one time and it was, I don't know, maybe like a 15 to 20 minute wait for the delivery to arrive, and in the time it took to be delivered, if you're not familiar with agadashi tofu, it's not mega unhealthy, I don't think. But it's like squares of lovely soft tofu that's been coated in like starch, usually I think potato starch. And then that's fried, so the exterior gets really light and crispy and the inside is all soft and yummy. And it's served in like a dashi based stock, like sauce situation, and then topped with some little garnishes. In this case it was some thinly sliced spring onions and a little bit of little sprinkles of seaweed. So good. I adore it. But because the tofu is coated in starch, if the tofu that's coated in starch sits in that dashi based sauce for any amount of time, the starch will start to thicken the sauce. So if you get it, or if you order it and have it delivered to your house and it takes more than like 5 minutes to deliver it to your house, instead of getting like, these lovely cubes of like soft tofu in a crispy exterior with a nice sort of liquidy sauce, you get cubes of tofu in a dashi based jelly. And it's texturally it's not as nice if it doesn't have that bit of crispy on the outside of the tofu. It's still delicious, but it's just kind of like, you know, jiggly tofu and then jiggly dashi jelly, and it's weird and it's not as it's meant to be eaten. So I only get it when I go to restaurants that happen to have it on the menu, so it's very special for me. And then I just got like a bunch of sushi. I'm a cheap date. All of my favorite sushis for the most part are like the cheap ones. Kappamaki. You know, it's just kappamaki if you're not familiar. It's just cucumber maki. And then tamago is like, you know, just like a slice of omelet sushi. And then inari sushi, which is just like a little ball of rice that's been stuffed into a pocket of tofu. Those are my favorites. They're all the cheapest ones on the menu, almost exclusively. I did get a bit of grilled eel, and that was fit. That's like the most expensive thing that I will get at a Japanese restaurant is a bit of grilled eel. Anyways, sounds like dystopia prison food. Happy to hear it still tastes good, says Mimicry. I mean, yeah, but you gotta have the texture. If it's been sitting in like a sealed container for 20 minutes while being delivered to you, it's not gonna have the right texture. It's just gonna be sort of like jiggly mush and jiggly mush. And I do like jiggly mush, but you know, it's no. Anyways, Leaky, hello, welcome in. Hello, I hope you are well. It's lovely to see you. I am realizing something just now, which is I'm very intelligent. First of all, I'm so glad that I named the names of the paints on the bottom of here, because there's a bunch of them that I'm just like, these could all be interchangeable as far as I'm concerned right now. I can't tell which one is what color from looking at them in the pans. But they are named on the bottom, so I can tell that is blue. I think this might be this is violet. Okay, fabulous. And then one of these is brown. This is brown. This is black. And this is Lunar Red Rock. Yay, good. Okay. I wanted something of a fiery palette that's very sort of like red-ish. So I'm gonna probably be working a lot with like this area of colors, but also probably quite a bit with like these, the green and blue as like a nice contrast. And we'll see how we get on. But anyways, it wasn't my intention to draw Ponyta, but I mean, conceptually, she's kind of Ponyta, but derpy. Because I don't know how to draw horses. I did have a reference photo that is a photo I took some years ago of a horse that I used as the reference for this drawing of a horse. You can't tell. You cannot tell. But I swear it's true. Anyways. Leaky says, before your hand passed over the table, I thought you'd painted a very realistic rendition of some palettes. Oh, I wish I could claim to be that skilled at photorealism. I suck at photorealism. This is my best attempt at drawing a horse, Leaky. This is it. Anyways, Moriax, hello, my friend. Sorry you're feeling the sad. If it's any consolation, I think you're really cool. I think you're cool. Thank you. It's really sweet. Bambi says HONSE. Yes, correct. Hello, Turnip. Thank you very much for the lurk. I hope it's lovely. Mimicry says, I mean, there's only so many ways you can draw a fire horse. This is true. I feel like this is the obvious solution. And also I love them. They are my friend now. It's a horse with rounded corners. Yes. Here's the thing. Like, I'm one of my goals for this year has been to do more practice of like just like warm up like pose drawing kind of thing. And I have some pages of really ugly pose scribbles in my sketchbook as a consequence, which has been really, really helpful. I don't know how useful it is. Like, I don't know if I'm improving in that front, but it feels good to be like doing that more. I feel like I draw less just like people than I used to, but I want to, when I do draw people, do it kind of well, you know? So, so like human anatomy is not the easiest thing to master in drawing, but you know what's even harder than human anatomy? Because I'll tell you what's even harder than human anatomy to draw, to figure out, and that is horse anatomy. This is the photo that I used as a reference for this piece. As you can tell, it's the same picture, right? Like, if I just, it's the same picture. It's the same picture. Anyways, this is a photo I took of a horse a few years ago, while I was existing in the vicinity of horses. I've realized in rambling here that my paint water is still in the kitchen. Which one is the photograph, says Bambi. You know, that's a good question. Even I could not tell you. It's so hard to tell. If I accidentally start painting on my phone screen, we'll know why. Anyways, I kind of wanted to put a couple of little, like, teeny tiny sort of background horses kind of grazing or just sort of dooting around back here. And, man, once again, horse is just so freaking hard to draw. But I'll be right back. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry. I do apologize. I'm very sorry. My water cup went on walkabout. It was very hard to find, but I did it. But the thing about horses is their anatomy is super weird. Says Morax. It's true. It's true. It's true. Their anatomy is real weird. They don't. They look like they. How do their bones work? Don't try to explain to me, because then I'll be reading a wall of text from chat and I'm not going to take any of it in because I'm stupid and my attention's divided because I'm streaming. But also, I don't necessarily want to eliminate the mystery, because that's kind of that's part of their magic, is that we don't understand them. What is horse? We don't know. Anyways. Mimicry says, doesn't look too difficult to draw, but everyone keeps saying that, so now I'm worried. You know what? You should ignore what everyone says and just get stuck in. Because sometimes I'll come upon something where, like, everyone seems to be like, oh man, this is so super hard, and then I try and do it, and I'm like, it's fine. So, ignore that. Don't psych yourself down about it, is my point. Bambi says, at least next year it is the very easy Year of the Worm Noodle. The snake. Nice. I look forward to the snack year. Snacks are fun to draw. They are noodly, and you can wiggle them in all kinds of neat shapes. So that'll be fun. Yes. They've got extra legs where their hands should be, says Leaky. Yep. I guess I shouldn't have treated Bojack as the ground truth. I mean, that's a kind of horse. I haven't actually seen the show. But that's certainly a kind of horse. I think. I don't know. Well, he's a horseman. It's in his name. Is he like a centaur? Don't answer. Anyways. Speaking of centaurs, I say this as someone who did have to give this some thought, because I have a D&D player. I have a D&D player. I have a D&D character that I play on and off, who is in her, like, everyday day job life, she's a warlock, but she's also a tailor. And despite being a gnome, she specializes in trousers for centaurs. And centaur trouser accessories, like, you know, like braces and belts and that kind of thing. But the thing is, I don't think there's a definitive how do centaurs wear their trousers. Like, do they wear them, like, does the waistband go sort of across the tummy like this, and it covers the two back legs, and then the front legs and, you know, like, their upper arms are uncovered? Or does it go sort of across, like, the midsection horizontally and cover And I think the answer that I came up with when this question came up when I was in D&D sessions was it depends on the centaur and what they feel comfortable wearing. But I don't know. Like if you had to pick one, I don't know which one would be the appropriate one. Have you watched Centaur World? I obviously have not, but the name is familiar. Should I? Is this a should? How many legs can you afford, says Bambi? Oh, that's true. That's true. A 4-legged trouser is going to be twice the labor. It's going to be more expensive. It's definitely going to be more expensive. Well then, I'm going to once again try and draw like a couple of tiny little horses in the background, just kind of chilling. Or having some snacks, because I've got this horse photo as well. This is very blurry because I'm zooming way in because they were really far away, but you can see they're kind of just hanging, just snacking on some grass and stuff. I feel like being a horse on fire in like a field of grass and stuff, which often gets quite dry, feels like a recipe for danger. But I'm just gonna put it out there that this is some kind of like magic flames, so like they're fine, everything's fine. It's Ponyta, okay? It's Ponyta rules, it's Pokemon rules. It's fine. Anyways, it's on Netflix, says Moriax. I enjoyed it at least. Good songs, surprisingly dark in places, cool villain. Ooh, I do love a cool villain. Mimicry says, you got your time scale backwards. Next year's the oh, that's right, Snake was Snake last year? Next year's the goat. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Hang on. What element is it? Because I do like incorporating the, Oh. Apparently we're getting a fire goat. If this link is correct, that's very fun. How the heck am I gonna draw that? Oh, Biddle Boy, I don't know. But I'll try. I don't think, have I ever drawn it? Yes, I have drawn a goat. I have drawn goats before. I know how to draw goats. Goats are fine. Goats are not a problem. I can draw a jolly little goat. Probably like just a silly little kid. You just add a goatee to the horse and be done with it. Ah, jeez. Well, I'd have to give it some little horns and maybe make its eyes like little goat eyes. But goats are so cute. Oh, goats are so cute. Goats are real cute. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be so much fun. Apparently BoJack Horseman is mostly human-shaped with a horse head and possibly a tail. I forget. I see. So, sometimes because of the unique way in which my brain is funded, sometimes it moves, sometimes it just kind of gets stuck, and then other times it moves with incredible speed. Even as I'm speaking on a completely different topic, my brain is just moving like on its own sort of plane of, I don't know, high-speed rail. And just now my brain was like, hey, I need you to think about the concept of a reverse centaur. And it's just... It's just the bottom half of a human person with a horse's head plunked on top. Oh god, it's horrifying. I hate it. Oh no. It's worse than a reverse mermaid. Reverse mermaid is fun. Better that than a reverse mermaid, says Morax. I'm not convinced. I mean, I guess the thing about the reverse mermaid is that it probably wouldn't survive on land. But also probably wouldn't be able to swim very well. So, like, in terms of survivability. But on the other hand, the reverse centaur also has... just, like, how does its organ structure work? I mean, I guess also, how does the organ structure of a centaur work? Because it's got two torsos, effectively. So does it just have like does it have two separate sets of organs? Does like if it eats food, does it pass through two different stomachs and like digestive systems? Does it just have a bunch of redundant organs? Because the reverse would therefore not have most of those organs, presumably. Huh? This hurts. I think I'm thinking about things that I was not intended to think about. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I am struggle. I forget what the end of that sentence was going to be, but I'm certainly struggling. Sometimes, most of the time, you know, when immersed in like a good narrative, I'm happy to suspend my disbelief. I don't need a Star Trek Enterprise episode to tell me why the Vulcans from the original series had smooth foreheads. I don't give a shit. But, you know, then I start thinking too hard about what's the deal with centaurs. They make no sense. And now my life is ruined. One torso and one horso, says Leaky. Ah! Mimicry says, are there six-legged mammals? Great question. Any like natural animal science people, zoologists, that's the word I'm looking for. Any zoologists in the chat want to weigh in on whether or not there are six-legged mammals? Because I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there might be some case that I'm just not thinking of. Are you implying, Mimicry, that a centaur is not a mammal? Because, I mean, does that mean... this is sending me down some garden paths I don't want to tread. Because if the centaur is not a mammal, does that mean that it doesn't have babies like mammals do? Does that mean, for instance, because, you know, like mammals have live births and then they nurse their young with their mammaries, right? I mean, because centaurs do generally, I think in the art that I've seen, have, like, human booba from the looks of it, but those might just be, like, false booba that don't actually do anything, and they might actually, like, I don't know, like, lay eggs and nest their young. I don't like this. I don't like where this is taking me. I just wanted to draw and paint some cute little horses, and instead, here we are. This is a cozy stream. I lose my fucking mind. Unless something goes wrong, says Morix. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, some people have extra toes or whatever, so, like, whatever. The internet suggests that the mutation wouldn't work well, so it wouldn't give enough evolutionary benefit, says Leaky. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe centaurs are just well-disguised beetles, says Mimicry. Oh my god! I mean, listen, there are, like, insects and other creatures that are very good at, like, camouflaging themselves as other things, right? Like, you know, bugs that can, you know, sort of disguise themselves as, like, a leaf or a stick, or there was this, like, very large stick bug that was only very recently discovered in the Australian wilderness. And someone was like, geez, how come it took them so long to discover this if it's, like, 15 centimeters long? And someone was like, hi, yeah, I'm an entomologist. I can actually explain this. Here's a thread. It was on Twitter or something. And the thread was just one post, and it said, it looks like a stick. And you know what? Valid. Do lady centaurs have quad booba? There's another question. Because, again, they have two torsos, technically. You're right, Leaky. That's a valid question. Which ones do they nurse from? If they are mammals and they do have live births and they do nurse their young, which set of, you know, of mammaries do they nurse from? I assume it would be the upper ones because, like, the arms are more dexterous with sort of holding the baby, but they could also do it just from, like, sort of a seated or lying down position. Sort of on with, you know, on their side so that, like horses do. I'm losing my mind. I mean, griffins lay eggs but have mammal bodies, says Moriax. Why? I hate it here. I mean, listen, like, I have given this thought in the context of, like, you know, fantasy media before, like, for instance, like, the Dragonborns in Dungeons and Dragons, just out of morbid curiosity, I have asked myself, do they lay eggs, or do they have live babies? Because they're like human shaped, except they're dragons. So would they have a cloaca? I don't know. I'm not sure this is a question that needs answering. I don't care. But on the other hand, it's just like, I wonder. And the answer is a resounding, I don't know. And I hate that I'm asking these questions because I'm so uncomfortable right now. That's a yummy cup of tea. Time for a cup and a lie down, says Leaky. Honestly, I'm feeling it. This is apple cider tea. Now, I recently got this. I'm trying to cut down on my, you know, sort of added sugar consumption as a person who's over 40 who doesn't want to be yelled at by their doctor. So I'm trying to cut down on my added sugar consumption. And normally in, like, a cup of fruit tea like this, I really find that it needs some kind of sweetening. Because otherwise, like, if it has the aroma of, like, fruit or something that's meant to be sweet, like fruit or, you know, sort of like caramel or whatever other things that they put as flavorings in teas, but it's not being this, there's no sweetness being picked up by, like, the sweetness receptors on my tongue. I find it a very discordant and weird experience. I'm just like, it confuses my brain in a very unpleasant way. So yeah, it's like when, okay, so this is from a tea company called Bird and Blend, and I do think that they produce some pretty nice teas. I drink a reasonable number of them, and I own a reasonable number of them. My favorite one is their Mojito tea, which is a green tea with mint and lime. Fantastic. Also, I find generally green teas, I don't really want to have sweet, so, like, it's fine. But things like fruity teas like this and herbal teas, I do. Fruit aroma with no sweetness is just terrible, says Mimicry. Yes, thank you, exactly. Because they'll have, like, reviews on their site, as well as they will also say that, you know, like, oh, it's naturally sweet. You don't need to add, you know, like, sugar or honey or anything to it. And I'm like, here's the thing, though. If I don't, it tastes like it's supposed to be sweet, but it's not sweet. And that is kind of bad, actually. It just feels blunted. It feels like I've come down with something and my taste receptors aren't working correctly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't find that pleasant. Versus, like, this is just unsweetened mint tea and it tastes fine because it just tastes like mint leaves, which is yummy. But if it's a flavor that's meant to, like, you know, evoke sweetness, but there's no actual sweetness in it, it tastes broken. And I find it really hard to explain. Anyways, but my point being, so cutting down on the amount of added sugars, turns out I don't like these kinds of tea with no sugar in them because they taste nasty. But I did buy myself a bag of a sweetener. I hate artificial sweeteners normally, but this one I found tolerable in things in the past. You don't see it as, like, an added sweetener in most things in this country, at least, though. It's called erythritol. And my one beef with it now, having tried it myself, is that I put 3 ding-dang spoonfuls in here and it tastes basically like I didn't do anything to it. So I had to add a spoonful of sugar anyways. I don't take my tea that sweet. I would put, like, maybe, like, a spoonful of sugar, and it's nothing. Anyways, so yeah. I've seen Baldur's Gate 3. There are answers in that game about Dragonborn anatomy, though they apparently produce milk and lay eggs, says Moriax. Well, I mean, it's a magic land. Maybe it just doesn't... Maybe nature doesn't... How shall I say? Nature doesn't play by the same rules that nature does in our realm, perhaps. Because that's the only way I can explain eggs and milk from the same creature, is just that the rules are different there. Because why not? Anyways, I'm realizing that, of course, 2025 was the year of the snake. This is a little guy that was given to me by my sister-in-law, who lives in Japan. And she gave us some New Year's like mochi rice cakes last year, and they came with this little figurine of a little Snick, and he's got a little lucky golden apple that says 2025, and he's my favorite little guy, and he's so stinking cute, and he just sits with me on the desk here because I need friends. Anyways. But yeah, Moriak says, if I were a DM, I would say dragons are inherently magical, and the ancestors of Dragonborn, so shrug, it can work however. You know what? I like that. I like that. I also feel like a lot of the times, like, I can be mildly rules lawyery about some things in my life, thanks autism. But on the other hand, I also feel like a lot of the time when it comes to something like a dungeon dragon, you know, it's okay, I think, sometimes to just go with what works best with your story. What makes the most sense with your story? Does it make the most sense with your story for like your dragonborn character to like nurse their babies, or does it make the most sense for them to like lay a clutch of eggs? Up to you. Whatever you feel like. Cloaca or not, who cares? Maybe you just like saying the word cloaca. I know I do. Anyways, what is this stream? Leaky says, in that world I'd be killed whilst owing at an owl bear. I know. Listen, I am genuinely scared. I've never encountered a bear in real life, thankfully. I am genuinely scared that my I'm scared impulse would come after the oh, look at him impulse that I get every time I see a creature in real life. If I were somewhere where there was just like a wild bear in the vicinity. I'm scared that I would be like, aw, beans, it's cute, before I was like, oh shit, I better book it before it determines I'm a threat or wants my food or something. If not friend, why friend shaped, says Bambi. Yes, exactly. Exactly, yes, you get it. Listen, here's the thing. I have, since I was literally a wee little babby, been sleeping with, you know, like a little woolly cuddly bear who is my friend, who I snuggle to go to sleep. Yes, I am over 40. Yes, I do still sleep with a cuddly bear. In fact, there are two cuddly bears and a happypotamus that my partner and I share a bed with. We are very serious about being comfy cozy and having little cozy friends. Anyways, I desperately want to pet a bear, says Bambi. Mine is a polar bear. Mine's a polar bear too! His name is Buck the bear! and my happypotamus's name is Mr. Happypotamus. Cuddly bear / spouse, also true. Also, yes, my spouse is a majestic bear of a man, so, you know. And I personally like to A, sleep long hours in the winter. B, eat berries, salmon, and honey. C, am hairy. D, am cuddly. Like, I'm very cuddle shaped. That's my new way of saying I'm fat, but I'm cuddle shaped. Anyways, but yes. Would lady centaurs always choose the owl bear, says Leaky? I don't know. But also, oh man, I would like to. Platypuses lay eggs and produce milk, says Mimicry. Oh my god, that's true. What the hell is a platypus? I do believe that platypus are magical. Because what is up with that? I don't know. I will bite a face off if given half the chance, says Bambi. Please don't. Please don't. I don't think that's legal. Leaky's taking notes. I don't think you should. Mimicry says, in 1799, the first scientist to examine a preserved platypus body judged it a fake made of several animals sewn together. Platypus equals custard machine. Oh, Bambi, that's nasty. No. Why? You know, I think here's the thing. Thank you for the lurk, Eddie. I hope you have a lovely, lovely lurk. I think here's the thing. Echidnas as well. Okay, I think that animals like vegetables and fruits, do not give a flying fig about human scientific classifications of flora and fauna. They do not care, you know? Like, you can come at me with, technically, tomato, they're a fruit, but, like, I don't want tomato ice cream, particularly. But I do want, likewise, I don't want, you know, a strawberry sauce on my spaghetti. Because culinarily, excuse me, they are different. It doesn't, like, the scientific classifications of fruits and vegetables do not matter. But likewise, maybe platypus just does not care. And echidna does not care about our arbitrary categories of what type of creature is what. They're like, you know what? We're going to do what we want. If we want to make milk and we also want to lay eggs, we can do both. Tough biscuits, they say. Because weirdly, you know, like, human knowledge has not reached the absolute limit of everything we can know about the natural world. We're discovering new species every ding-dang day. There are bugs and sea creatures and birds, probably, that we still don't know exist out there in the world. That we don't know about. It is the most hubristic thing that you can do as a human person to assume that we have reached the pinnacle of human knowledge. Like, good gosh. Us? This species? We're dumb as rocks. No. Forget it. Anyways. For some animals, here we go. For some animals, God just hit the randomize button and called it a day. Apparently so. That's like the only compelling argument for the existence of God I've ever heard. I love it. Joe says, why are there so many rules biology doesn't conform to? You know, maybe rules exist to be broken. Some do. I mean, certainly in the art world, I think a lot of them do. Not like don't plagiarize, like definitely don't do that. But things in terms of like, oh, you must never use these two colors together. You should never use this paint in this way. Like, just watch me. I think it's useful to learn in from that perspective. I'm going on a tangent now. I think it's useful to learn the rules in order to figure out how to effectively break them in a way that's neat. I used to really annoy editors by writing in ways that, like, were, how shall I say, deliberately rule breaking in places. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know it's a rule break. I know what I'm doing. And it makes sense. So, tough. Leaky says, yeah, dolphins are smart and haven't invented war and AI slop, so I call that superior. You know what? I think they're doing pretty great. I think they're doing pretty good. In art, rules are tools and nothing more, says Mimicry. Yes, exactly. I can still remember when I was at university, I had a professor who told us, here was a rule that he made, that he gave us, which was, nobody knows how to use a semicolon, so just don't use them in your writing. Like, don't try. And I thought that was a crappy rule. So guess what? I used so many damn semicolons for every paper I submitted to that guy. And I did it correctly, because if you actually, you know, just like look up the rules and remember them, you can figure out how semicolons are used. It's not that hard, Jason. Same goes with visual art. I think it's really, I don't know. I think a lot of experienced and also sometimes not experienced artists either get asked to or want to pass along, like, wisdom about how to do things. And a lot of it is stuff that, you know, is potentially good to have in your toolkit, but not necessarily something you have to adhere to every single time. For instance, it's really effective a lot of the time if you're, like, shading on a piece, if you want some nice sort of like shading in areas, to let's say, for instance, I'm drawing this horse in red, right? And I want bits of it to be sort of a little bit more in shadow, like maybe its undercarriage isn't getting quite as much lighting as like its back, right? So to underpaint it slightly with a little wash of green first is going to give a more dynamic shadow than, say, just adding a bit of black, right? But that's super useful, but also you might not want to do that for the specific aesthetic you're going for. You know, maybe you're going for something that's a little bit stylized in a specific way. Then that might not work for you. So, you know, you can break that. Anyways, I feel like I've gone on like 100 different tangents. My head hurts so bad now. I'm gonna try and draw a tiny horse over here, because what I wanted to do was just kind of pop a couple little horses off down the distance to give us a feeling that there are more than one horse in this field, because I feel like it looks a little kind of incomplete as a landscape right now. So I was gonna add some more tiny HONSE. And also just get some additional sort of pops of fiery color, because my thinking is that most of this is going to be sort of a slightly blue-toned green, and then, oh, never mind, I'm doing an affirmation. Okay. Very happy to do so. Thank you for the affirmation, Redeem Leaky. Let's get an I can't speak. Let's get an affirmation for you is what I'm trying to say. Okay. I've got my affirmation dick, and I shall draw you an affirmation card. Boop. Anyways, hopefully we'll get something nice and affirming. I am trying to shuffle this up as best as I can. I'm very bad at shuffling, and also I don't want to wreck these cards because they were not cheap, and they're really nice. So just gonna try my best here, and see what we draw. See what we draw. Hopefully it will be something. I mean, every affirmation is a lovely affirmation in these affirmation decks. I really want to make one of these. I don't know if anyone would want affirmations from me, though. I mean, we just had like a nearly hour-long conversation about like centaur anatomy, dovetailing into other am I allowed to call this stream cozy still? Because I feel like most of this was just me having a breakdown over not understanding how mythical creatures work. I don't know if that's cozy. Anyways, did y'all see the article speaking of slop, did y'all see the article in the New York Times about the woman who was like, oh, it's only chumps who are writing their own romance novels anymore. I just generate them and like make hundreds of them every day. That's the way to do it from now on. But she's telling on herself about the fact that these like, you know, generated slop novels are not making her any money, because she's also selling, what she's really selling is a course teaching other people how to do what she's doing. And she's also eventually wants to license and sell like her own like AI model that will generate novels for romance writers. It's a load of old nonsense. Anyways, it's embarrassing, honestly, but it's just another flavor of that, like, oh, I have the secret to, you know, sort of like the infinite money hack. Just pay me for my course and I'll show you how easy it is to do it, and you can start earning all kinds of passive income, not actually having to write novels. It's like, if you were actually making money writing these novels, you wouldn't have to be paying, you know, charging people for a course to learn how to do it. It's such an obvious grift. Like, it's embarrassing, and she should feel embarrassed for doing it. The fact that she's... Okay, this is the funny thing, though. She's using her pen name in this article, but they also just publish a whole-ass photo of her, so it's not going to be super difficult for someone with 5 minutes and a reverse image search to find out what this person's actual name is. Because, like, the fact that you're not willing to put your name to any of this is real embarrassing. Anyways, here's an affirmation. Yay! This is a good affirmation. This affirmation is, may your inner compass guide you. And it does it want to focus? Focus up. Come on. There we go. Yay! May your inner compass guide you. May it guide you away from taking courses from grifters who say that you can make an infinite passive income doing plagiarist slop. But also But also, you know, I think, like, trust your inner compass. It knows where you need to end up, and it knows how to get there. And you can do it. I believe in you. This is really cute. This art is really cute. I like it. I like it. Is she reading a little? Come on, focus. Focus. It's really having a hard time. There we go. There she is. Oh, she's so cute. I love her. Anyways, yeah. Listen to this little guide. She knows what's up. There's your affirmation. I'm sorry I went on a rant as I was shuffling the affirmation cards, but I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, but also, you know, like, I'm right. It's like, do y'all remember a few years ago I was getting all of these, like, constantly getting ads on YouTube for, like, you know, oh, I made $1,000 this morning, just by doing this one simple thing. And it was about, it was always this lady who was like, have you heard of this thing called Audible? And it was all about basically, like, just writing, like, the crappiest, shittiest books that you can on any topic. Like, doesn't matter, whatever. Just writing a bunch of crap. And then getting, like, an audiobook made of it. And then selling that on Audible. And that was the, like, money hack. And it's like, the thing is, if it's obviously a terrible book, and these are obviously terrible books, no one is buying them. Nobody is buying these. They're not going to make you thousands because no one is buying them. Like, no, it's stupid. My philosophy has always been, says Moriax, if it's easy, simple, and lucrative, why isn't everybody doing it? Because it's not. Because it's not. It might be one of those things, but it's definitely not both. It's just... Every couple of years there's a new here's how to make infinite money grift. That's the thing. It was Audible, and then it was making, like, slop videos for social media and then monetizing them. But here's the problem. You make hundreds of these terrible generated videos with, like, AI text-to-speech, and oh wow, no one's watching them. No one's watching your channel because the search algorithm deprioritizes them because they're obviously, like, churned out garbage. And no one's watching them because they're bad. So where is the money to be made? You're not making any money off of this. The people who tell you that you're gonna make money off of this are the ones selling a course telling you how to do it. They're making money off of the course. They trust that you're just naive enough to think that it's possible. It's like the time an old friend of mine got, I don't know, so she fell into an MLM selling, like, supplements and stuff, and suddenly she was, like, super active posting on Facebook. This is back when I had Facebook. She was super active posting on Facebook about how, like, oh wow, my, you know, Vitality supplements are so good. I'm just having my yummy morning smoothie with my Vitality supplements. Find out how you can become a Vitality supplement representative through me. And I was just like, girl, don't you already have a normal job? Don't you have, like, a lucrative normal job? What are you doing? And my guess is she just had, like, 12 cases of supplements that she needed to offload because she got swindled into an MLM somehow. Horses for courses, says Leaky. Hashtag callback. Lovely. I love it. Thank you. Anyways, we are going into an ad in, like, a minute. So I'm going to try, once again, to draw... How is HONSE? Why is horse so hard to draw? This is incredibly difficult. Yeah, no, I can't do it. Why is the shape be so bad? Okay, I'm gonna erase that and I'm gonna try and fix it after the break. Or maybe we just won't have any more horses. I don't know. But this is going worse than I was expecting. Doop-a-doop. Horse tummy. Horse leg. Other horse leg. Horse leg. I think these horse legs are going to have to be... It's so far away, I think the horse legs are just going to have to be sticks, otherwise it's not going to make any sense. Why horse neck like this? So confusing. Okay, horse legs are sticks back here. It's fine, don't worry about it. There we go. Okay, yay, I drew a horse. The ad break is starting, so I'm going to have to go. I'll be back in a minute. You're not going to miss anything. Enjoy the ad break. I'm sorry you have to see ads. BRB, everybody. Oh, pretzels. Hi. Hello. I'm so sorry. I was on a little break. E-Love, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. Thank you, thank you. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. I'm so sorry. Hi, everybody. I hope you didn't get hit with ads, because we were in an ad break. But hello. Hello, E-Love. Hello, Starruble. Welcome on in. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Kitty. Hello. Hello, Skittle. Hi, friends. Welcome in. It's lovely to see y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. E-Love, how was your stream? Let me get a shout out for you in the chat. If you're not familiar with the lovely E-Love, you should be. They're amazing. They do the loveliest stuff. What were you up to today? I'd love to hear all about it. We are attempting to draw a field of fire horses. I tried to draw a tiny HONSE in the distance, and it's looking... that's a HONSE, right? Please say yes. Anyways, this is our fire horse. It has been pointed out that as it is going into the year of the Fire Horse 2026 for the Lunar New Year, it's basically Ponyta from the Pokemons, which I'm cool with. Anyways, I should introduce myself for anyone who's new here. Hello and welcome in. Thank you for coming in on the raid. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays and sometimes on a Thursday as well if I'm feeling extra crispy. We are working on Lunar New Year art this week rather. So this is a little fire horse for the year of the horse. We were working on Hans Christian Andersen. Oh my goodness, the Rainbow Space Hans Fisher horse. Oh my goodness, that sounds incredible. And I love it with my whole heart already. As always, we are an art tax optional stream here, so if there's anything you would like to share with the class, you're very welcome to whisper a link in my direction. But if you just want to chill, that's entirely fine too. It's up to you. We're just happy you're here. For anyone who isn't familiar with my oeuvre, I can show you some things what I've done recently if you'd like to see. This is like my favorite painting that I've ever done in my entire life, and I don't think anyone else likes it as much as I do, but that's tough biscuits because I love it a lot, so too bad. It's this. Hi. Is Sports Direct mug. We also did a no peeking draw of a cat in a watering can and reached our goal of $100 for the ACLU. Congratulations, Ela. That is amazing. I have a link. Please whisper me a link. I would like to share it. I love this mug. Oh, thank you. This is Spore Dyer. They are a very special friend, and and they are... Oh, heck, no, go to okay, I mean, that's also me, but that's not really artsy. I mean, I guess it's artsy, but it's very old photography, because my wedding anniversary was this past weekend, and I posted a bunch of photos to celebrate that. But, more importantly, get a load of this little cup of tea. The cup of tea and the Sports Direct mug are dating. As you do. This is very normal. And they're very happy.
Attention.
Yes,
Twitch
Jam!
user Sammy Kelch.
Choppers.
Hello! Thank you very much for reading, Jim. Come on in. Hello. Take a look at the Sports Direct mug. How is it going, friends? Thank you for the raid. Welcome on in. I am waving at you as though you can see my hand right now. I'll go back to camera. Hi. Anyways, hello. Welcome in, and thank you very much indeed for the raid. Hello. Nita, hello. Rex, welcome in. Jam, of course, and Zevi, and Kirsty, and Mikkel, hello. Welcome, friends. How are you doing? Cackle Nicole says, "Hot pig, it's happy anniversary, congratulations." Thank you. Is it Red Nose Day? I don't know. I'm just a clown. I'm just a clown or a reindeer. Nobody knows. I can do that. Anyways, I mean, most of me is red most of the time because I look like an angry strawberry in real life. But never mind. Anyways, hello. How was your stream, Jam? What did you get up to today? It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. We are working on, or attempting to work on, this. It turns out I don't know how I draw horses, so I did this. And we're going to paint it. I've got some glorious watercolors here and some very fiery hues. And we're going to focus. We're going to watercolor this bad boy. Eventually. We got onto a very long tangent about centaurs and centaur anatomy. It got very confusing. Like, do they have redundant organs? They have 2 torsos. Are they mammals? I was unable to answer any of these questions, but yeah, so that's what we've been up to today. How are you? How was your stream? Did you have a fun time? And also, is there anything you would like to share? As always, we are an art tax optional stream, but if there's anything you would like to share, I would be more than happy to do so. I believe I have a link whispered from Elove, who rated a little while ago, so I'm gonna pull that up as well, if I can. I'm attempting to vamp in the background while I get it up and running. Alright, cool. Elove has whispered me a very good... Oh my goodness, I love them! They're so cute! If you're not familiar with Elove's art, it is heckin' cute. My stream was wonderful, says Jam. Yay! I made art that I don't like and completely bamboozled my speech ability, explaining color theory with demonstration. Yippee! That sounds like a wonderful time. And I love it very much. Did I shout you out? I hope I did. I think I did, but now I don't remember if I did, so I'm gonna do it now. And if I did it twice, then, I don't know, follow Jam twice. Anyways, but thank you so much for thinking of me for a raid. For anyone who's new here, hi again. My name's Twitch user Sammy Cows. I'm a variety streamer. Do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays, and I do cozy game streams on Friday mornings and sometimes on a Thursday if I'm feeling spicy. And we're drawing a spicy fire horse scene today because it's the Lunar New Year and that is what we're celebrating. Speaking of, Elove, who raided earlier, whispered little Linky Doo off in my direction, and get a load of how stinking cute this is! I love them so much. They look so serene. They're so serene and they're just having the loveliest time and I love it and they're so stinking cute. Tals, hello, welcome in. Hello. I just waved again even though you can't see me because the camera's not on. My brain is broken today, by the way. But yes, this is an absolutely delightful piece of artwork. I'm so happy you shared this with us. I love it with my whole heart. It's very, very good. I'm going to get another shout out for Elove in the chat. Because you should absolutely be following Elove because they are delightful. And that's a super cute piece. Hell yeah. Goodness knows I mean, I'm trying to understand color theory, but I still don't think I'm good at it. But I am trying. I swear I'm trying. Hello? What was that? Oh my goodness, thank you very much for the follow. Michael, thank you very much! Thank you! Welcome on in. Hello. You totally are good at colors, says he. Thank you! Oh, that's for your Patreon. Nice, lovely. Wonderful. Love to see it. I am trying to be good at colors. I really love working with colors and doing interesting things with colors. This is a palette where all of the colors of the rainbow have been mixed with an equivalent amount of this bad boy, which is Lunar Red Rock, which is a really nice, deep, sort of warm red. It's very intense, from Daniel Smith Paint. Except this green. This green is the most insanely pigmented green paint I have ever encountered in my entire life, and it just eats every other pigment you try to mix it with, which is good for us today, because I need a nice contrasting green to get to get the, like, fiery hues to really sort of, like, pop against the sort of receding, cooler background. Or at least that's my plan for this piece. We'll see whether or not it bears out, and if I'm able to color theory real good. I'm trying. I'm going to take a sip of one of my teas. This is apple and cinnamon type situation. Yes, Leaky has put my my little gnome husbands in the chat, which are indeed their hats are complementary colors. Just about apple and cinnamon tea, says James B. Barrow. Yeeth, jam. It is. I think it's actually called apple cider something. Apple cider situation. It may also only be seasonally available. I'm not sure, but it's from Bird and Blend Tea. And I don't know. I'm not drinking as much black tea as I used to. I'm drinking a lot of like, herbal teas lately. I don't know why. It's just where my mouth is at. Apple cider tea? This is jam? Yes. It's delightful. If you like a warm spice situation, it's very cozy. Skills come in with a raid message. Hi! My streams have converted now. Hooray! Welcome in. I hope you are well. It's lovely to see you. But yeah, as always, I am a beverage goblin, so I have at least 2 beverages at once. So I also have, for some reason this one has a spoon in it. This is a blend of peppermint and spearmint. Though I did contemplate making myself a black tea before stream started. It was if I had done, which I forgot that I was going to do that, it was going to be a Japanese black tea from, I forget which prefecture, Kumamoto maybe? I'm not sure, but it's like a roasted black. You know how you get like hojicha, which is like roasted green tea? It's roasted, but it's black tea, which is wacky. But it's really nice. It's very smooth and rich. Now I'm kind of sad I didn't make that because it's also very good, but this is also very good. So, you know, like whatever. And because I'm nasty, I would have made it as like a builder's style because I can. Anyways, can I oh no. Anyways, I'm sure I had a point at some point in the past of time. I don't know anymore. But first of all, no. You know, sometimes when you're like halfway through a sentence and your brain has fully just moved on, like your brain has mentally completed the sentence, but you didn't actually get a chance to say it out loud. I think that's what just happened to me. I remember what I was going to do. I was going to do another shout out for Jam to say thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. If you're not following Jam, you should really go do that. If you like bees and like wonderful artwork and chats about artwork and generally much more articulate chats about artwork than I'm able to manage. I can't believe we went on just the most unhinged of tangents, and it all started with me trying to figure out whether centaurs, as a general rule, if you had to pick one, would wear trousers exclusively on their hind legs and have the waistband be vertical here, or whether they'd have a horizontal waistband and cover the bottom 4 legs. I couldn't figure it out. And then we just got into the centaurs are terrifying. Anyways. Gotta dip into a lurk. My brain is actively melting, says Jam. I hope your art continues wonderfully, and thank you again so much for the raid. I very much appreciate it. And I hope that you're able to re-solidify your brain, have a cup of tea, have a rest, and I don't know, think about less things for a few hours. You'll be okay. Trust. But thank you again. And again, now that he's dropped into a lurk, I can tell you, if you're not familiar with Jam's artistic oeuvre, get a look, get a load of this. Is that not the cutest ding-dang thing you ever did see? It's precious as heck. Also, I always think that Jam's like use of lighting is phenomenal. This is so stinking cozy. I love it. Anyways, yeah. Thank you again for the raid. Right. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was trying to draw some like teeny tiny horses in the background, but it turns out that I do not know. HONSE. What is this? This is the problem that started it all. Is the fact that like horse anatomy is baffling. Like human anatomy, I have been like working on doing more like dedicated study of like human anatomy and like practicing sketching poses and all that kind of thing this year, because it's something that I've been doing for a really long time, but I think there's always room for like staying as good as you are at it, if not becoming better at it, becoming less scared of things like foreshortening and where does limb go when they're posed in this way from this angle and that kind of thing, and how face look from sort of weird angle. If you remember that Freerin meme that went around a little while ago, which was so cute, what I really appreciate about that is how just generally like helpful everyone was to this artist that posted a very cutely not quite correct depiction of someone's face from like a lower angle, and it did look pretty funny. But everyone who responded to it was like, here are some tutorials you might want to look at to like help with that, and the artist was like, hell yeah, thank you, that's great, because it's something that they wanted to work on. It was delightful, but it did take off as a bit of a meme. Point being, this stuff is hard. This stuff is hard even when you're looking at like human people, but my god, what are horses' bodies? Once again, I am confusion. I don't want to delve too far back into like, I don't know, like which fantasy creatures have cloacas, but I do like saying the word cloaca, so it happens. Anyways, how was everyone's weekend? I hope you had really, really good weekends. I'm gonna pop some little horses down here as well that are just chillaxing if I can. So I'm using a reference of a photo that I'm using a reference that of a photo that I took some years ago. But unfortunately the horses were fairly far away. So I've had to zoom in. And it's so pixelated that I basically can't see what's happening anyways. Oh no, it's gone on. Okay, I basically can't see what's happening anyways because it's so blurry. But this is my own photo, which, given the choice, I would rather work from my own photos as reference. But I mean, at this instance, they might as well be brown at-ats for all I know. Maybe I should just... Okay, here's your horse drawing hack. Draw an at-at and then give it a mane and a tail. Oh my god, I'm so broken. Imagine drawing a face in stalls. I'm not sure I can even do that much at this point. Okay, I'm drawing this. So the face is a little U shape, and then it kind of angles up for the neck. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. And it's just, and then the body is kind of a weird little sort of wiggly curve. The neck go like that, and the tummy go like that. And then they have some little, and their legs are sticks. Because they're far away and I can't get any more detail in that, but I will give them a little ear. And then and a little flaming tail. And happy little mane. Okay, we've got another horse crazy. It looks so broken. Who cares? It's fine. It's good enough. Anyways, but yeah, what's everybody up to this week? What the hell did I just do? Okay, I fixed it. Sorry, background things happening on stream software, and suddenly a whole bunch of like window elements got highlighted, and I didn't know why. I think I clicked something by mistake, but I didn't seem to have broken it. Assuming you can all still see me, everything's okay. But yeah, how's everyone's weekends? I hope they were good. I hope you had a nice time doing weekendy stuff, whatever that may be. I did bake a cake. It was very nice. And I had a good time doing it. Though it was a slight deviation for me because I had not made... I don't believe I'd made a, like, gluten-free version of this cake previously. Let me just bring that face down just a little further. And then the legs are just sticks. Legs are just sticks. That's a secret of horse drawing. Legs are just sticks. Makes it a lot easier. Anyways, there we go. Okay, we've got some little ponitas off grazing in the distance. That I think it feels a little bit more complete in terms of the horse placement now, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to continue on, and the horses in the background, just don't look too closely at them, okay? Okay? Thank you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm wondering if I should do the background / sky type stuff first. Do I want it to be kind of like evening-y, nighttime, or do I want it to be like a daytime Ponita situation? Do I want some clouds up in there? I think what I could do... is maybe do like an evening, so it's like kind of blue houry up there, and do sort of a greenish blue situation. I think that might be kind of cute. What I will do is I will block out the bits that are horse with masking fluid, if that's what I'm doing, so I can do like a nice sort of wet, oh god, I'm sorry, a nice wet wash. I am holding the masking fluid as far away from the mic as I can because I realize that the squishy noises of it being shaken up is probably not the most pleasant. Oh god. Oh no. Ugh. This masking fluid is getting quite low. I'm gonna have to buy new masking fluid soon. That reminds me. I got an email from my bank this afternoon that was like, about, making the most of your savings account. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to make the most of my savings account, but here's the thing. So, like, years ago, I opened a savings account in this country. I live in the UK, by the way. And, the interest rate was meh, because most savings account interest rates are meh. But it's better than accruing no interest whatsoever on your savings, right? So I plonked a small amount of monies in there, and began accruing those savings. And then I kept getting notifications being like, your savings rates are reducing. And I was like, oh, well, I'm making so little per month on this account. I'm basically making bus fare per month on this account. Like 1 day's worth of bus fare. 2 stops up the road in bus fare on this savings account. How can I correct this? I should look at seeing whether or not I'm eligible to open some slightly higher yield savings accounts, right? So I did that. And I found a savings account that my bank offers that has a higher interest rate in months that you don't withdraw any money from your savings account. So as long as you don't touch your savings, as long as you're not withdrawing money from that account, it's accruing more money. That's a good savings account to have, right? And it was yielding about, twice as much as the standard savings account I had previously. So I opened a second savings account and I transferred most of my savings into that one, but I've still got both of them open just in case. And every few months I get an email from the bank saying your savings interest rates are reducing, to the point that now the interest rate of my higher interest savings account is the same interest rate as my regular bad savings account was when I opened it a few years ago. So, I don't feel great about that. Because it's not really it's not really doing anything. And again, it's like any amount of savings is better than no savings. I get that, but it does feel really, it feels very, what's the point when your interest income is like, in a month is like, you know, in the single digits. Like, what does this do? Like, what am I saving for here if my interest accrual is in the single digits? That's not going. This money is not appreciating in any meaningful way. It is definitely not exceeding the rate of inflation. My savings, despite technically growing, are becoming worth less and less as time goes by. It's kind of depressing. Anyways, shrinkflation in action, says Tals. It's just so depressing. It's just so depressing. And that's kind of, I was in kind of a bad headspace before we started stream because I'd just seen that email and it made me feel quite sad about the fact that, like, you know, like I used to ask myself, like, what am I saving for? What am I saving for? Because at this point, realistically, you know, sort of at this point, I'm in my early 40s. And the likelihood of me being able to, like, save up for a down payment on a house at this point in my life on the minimal income that I am attempting to scrape together by working myself into burnout, is you know, versus like property prices, that's not happening. So the next question is, well, what am I saving for? And I had to shift my thinking. And a couple of years ago, I managed to shift my thinking about this and kind of just reorganize my expectations in a really depressing way to, I'm not saving up for a house because that's never going to happen. But what I am saving up for is the possibility that at some point I find myself in a situation where I've had a breakdown or I get really sick and I'm not able to work. And my savings represent however many months I will still be able to house and feed myself while being too sick to work. And that's it. Like, that's it, you know? And right now, despite the fact that this represents, again, years and years of savings, though not that many years of savings relative to my age, because there were a period of many years where basically all of my money was going to immigration fees. And I'm going to have to do that again very soon because I'm working on my citizenship application. It's very scary. I talked about this last art stream, I think. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared because I have to ask people to endorse me. And I'm scared that like they're going to say no. This genuinely terrifies me. So that's where I'm at. But it's an incredibly expensive process. So I've got that to look forward to imminently, like very imminently. And I'm still paying off my dentist bills from last year / the beginning of this year. Yippee. So that's what savings is for, is medical emergencies and just continuing to be able to eat, you know, continuing to be able to buy gluten-free bread. That's about it. Anyways. Rex says, I'd love to get single-digit interest. Mine is less than 1%. Yeah, I know. It's just, like, what is the point? What is the point of it? I guess the point is it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing to have 1%, less than 1% interest. But, oh boy, wouldn't it be nice for that to be any meaningful amount and not just, like, literally nothing? But here we are. I love it here. I've been avoiding thinking about citizenship, says Tals. I never rushed to do it because, you know, I was like, I don't need to. I've got ILR. It's good enough. I don't need a British passport, but it's just, at this point, I'm kind of thinking it's less something that I need imminently in order to, like, continue living in this country, thankfully, but it is, I guess, in the same way that, like, my crappy savings account is, it's just a little added security blanket, I guess. For if they ever decided to change the immigration rules and were like, haha, we're gonna deport all of our, like, valuable all like hundreds of thousands of valuable workers and break up people's families because we're a bunch of racists in the government. I want to be prepared for that with as robust a right to remain in this country as I can achieve as someone who wasn't born here. Because, you know, I don't know. Every time anti-immigrant sentiment pops up, I get a little bit more scared as an immigrant. Who I think it's stupid that anyone is like, and I think it's cowardly when governments are like, you know, we're gonna scapegoat immigrants, because it's like immigrants are like the least powerful people in the country. Because they're not gonna wanna fluff things up because you can kick them out. So they're not stealing your money or your resources or your jobs. A lot of immigrants are doing the jobs that local people already didn't want to do. So stop it. Get some help. Anyways, Rex says, to me the point is anything not in my checking is money I can't spend, so I don't consider it when budgeting. Ooh, yeah. I mean, same. Same. My savings account is not like I said, my main savings account now is one where you earn a higher rate of interest if you don't access the account that month. So I make a note of basically not ever accessing the account if I can avoid it. And I really only would if I were in a situation where like I'm burning through everything else because I'm not earning any money for some reason. Like I'm not able to, like I can't, like I'm super sick and I can't work, or, you know, whatever. Or I'm fine, but no one wants to hire me. And no one wants to pay me to do whatever the hell this is, that kind of thing, you know, so. Being an adult is fun. I love it. I love it so much. I mean, actually, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, but it sucks. But it's fine. But it sucks, but it's fine. I'm gonna try some stuff, I guess. I'm gonna try something with the sky here. And I don't know if this is the right move. And I don't know if that masking fluid was fully dry. So I'm gonna try and go around it as best as I can with my wet brush. But I think I want some very wet paint on here if I can. Okay. Okie dokie. And again, this is inspired by like an actual photo. So who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen here? Just in terms of the landscape composition, this was inspired by a trip to the New Forest. I don't know how new the New Forest is, but I walked around it a bit. I saw a bunch of deer and horses and some donkeys, and I also got a whippy ice cream, and it was really nice. That was my visit to the New Forest. It was fun. Okay, I wanted to add a little bit of green to this blue to make it a little bit more teal, and now it just kind of looks kind of muddy and gray. But you know what? This is a British sky, so like that works, right? Ooh, yeah. That's a British sky if ever I did see one. It's literally just gray. But I'm hoping, since this is going on very like thick and washy, that it will that we'll get some interesting sort of color separation in the granularity of it, which is always good fun. You know I like some blending together of granulating pigments and then throwing them onto some paper and seeing what the hell happens to them, right? Anyways. You know, I was going to take a bit of tissue and kind of blot out some sections to make clouds, but I kind of feel like I don't need to. This kind of just feels like a tumultuous, stormy sky already. Like, I don't think I need to do anything to this. I think it's just done. What the heck? I think it's just done. I say I think it's just done, and then I continue futzing. I'm just violently futzing with it. That is futz hypocrisy if ever there was any. Oh no. Oh shoot. Okay, no, I'm stopping now. Because actually I don't know if you can see what's happening with this sky, but the pigments are doing some really interesting stuff, and it looks very kind of like stormy skies, and I feel like I think that works as a backdrop to horses with their manes and tails in flames. I think that works pretty well. I haven't actually decided what color I want the horses' bodies to be. I'm thinking kind of, I don't know, maybe like a lava situation, so they're sort of like reddish black, like they're quite sort of dark and stormy themselves, but then they've got like these manes in flames. It's Ponyta, but also like it's like it's not dramatic, because look how stupid this horse looks. This horse looks stupid. The horses at the back just have sticks for legs because they're too tiny to do anything else. I tried to give them like solid legs and it didn't work. I'm gonna real quickly take a photo of this as like a whip. And the reason I'm doing that is because sometimes when I paint things in, if the paint color is dark enough, I can't see my pencil lines anymore. And if I can't see my pencil lines anymore, I don't know where I'm supposed to put things like their little nostrils. And that would be bad. In other news, if anyone's curious, I finished a painting this weekend. I actually finished two paintings. So, older viewers might remember I was doing this painting of Terry the Forg Mage in this little landscape, and I had basically not much of it to complete at the end of the last art stream, so I was just like, I'm just going to do this off stream for the sake of getting it done. And here it is. It's Terry on a little adventure in a little landscape, and I still have the overlay on stream here to show you. This is like a redo of Terry's first outing, which was almost 5 years ago, which looks like that. I wanted to revisit that painting, but kind of update it, and what I came up with was this. And I hope you like it. It was fun to do. The other one that I finished this weekend. Older viewers may remember a TV program from the 1990s called Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I think you can probably guess where this is going. It's Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Specifically, it's the tailor shop, and the doctor is getting measured for a new garment. Intricate rituals, etc., etc. Because I'm a sap, and those two are incredibly gay. And they're my favorite. Anyways, I got DS9 jump scared. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos that are like Star Trek reviews and that kind of thing. I caught a little bit of an interview yesterday. It was like a live stream on YouTube. I hadn't intended to because I didn't know it was happening, and then it popped up in my recommendations feed, and then I was like, ooh, and then I realized, oh, wait a second, this person is one of the writers on the Star Trek Academy show, and I haven't watched any of the show yet. I'm gonna try and watch the season when, like, the whole, like, first season has aired and, like, catch up on it then. But I haven't seen any of it yet, so I probably shouldn't watch this interview. Oops! I didn't get spoiled, though, thankfully, because I think they were talking about other stuff. But it was interesting. But I got jump scared, because I also get a lot of art content on my YouTube recommendations. Things like, you know, talking about, because I watch, like, paint reviews and that kind of thing before I buy art supplies sometimes, if I can, just to see what other people think of different paints and colors and how they work together and that kind of thing. But I got jump scared by one recently because someone was showing some of their, like, I think some of their earlier works and stuff that they wanted to kind of work on this year as an artist and things they wanted to get better at. And one of the older works that they were showing a bunch of like portraits that they'd painted of, you know, sort of like random people and that kind of thing. And then in the middle of them, completely out of nowhere, is just like Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I was like, damn! I recognize that man and his weird face. That was delightful because I love that guy. He's a fun character. If you don't know him, he's made of goop. It's a good time. Anyways, I'm vamping a bit because this needs to. Oh man, here's the really fun thing about granulating pigments. And they when you do them in sort of like a wet wash like this, you will get situations where certain pigments will kind of sit on top of each other rather than just fully blending together when you paint them like this. And the effect really kind of develops as it dries down. And I don't know if you can see this, but like you can see there's patches where like bits of the...
Attention.
So Twitch user Sammy Kelsch.
Choppers.
Hi! We're just looking at some granulating pigments in this stupid horse painting. Hi, how are you doing? It's so wonderful to see you. Welcome on in, Pop. How is it going? Hello, Warrior Luna. Hello, Pop. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, Eddie. Hello, my friends. And welcome. Willow, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Pop says I never get to raid. Tee hee. I had to. Oh, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Let me get you. Luna, thank you very much for the follow as well. Welcome in. Let me get a shout out for Pop in the chat. If you're not following, you should definitely go give Pop a follow. You could do that right there. Hopefully it worked. Yay, it did! As always, we are an art tax optional stream, so if there's anything you would like to share with the class, you are very welcome to whisper a link in my direction, and I would be very, very happy to do so. In the meantime, I should introduce myself to anyone who's new here. Hello, everybody. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelsch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays, and I do cozy game streams on Fridays and every once in a while on a Thursday afternoon if I'm feeling a little extra crispy. And today we are doing this flaming horse landscape. Look at the beautiful horse anatomy. All these little guys in the background. They are just perfect. I don't know how before I started this, I didn't really know how I drew horses because I don't draw horses very often. And horse anatomy is really hard. So here we are. Anyways, but it's the year of the horse. It's the year of the horse for the Lunar New Year 2026. And Lunar New Year is happening in like a week or so, I think. So I wanted to do, and specifically the element for the year is fire. So I wanted to do a fire horse. And so the obvious solution was, I realized belatedly it's basically Ponyta. But we're going to try and do something a little different with it. But anyways. Jurassic Scout, hello, thank you. My PNG tuber is trying their best. And we have a link from Pop we can go take a look at, which I would very much love to do. Thank you so much for sending me some linkage. Let's go take a look. If you're not familiar with the art of Pop, it is absolutely heckin' delightful. So let's go do bloop. If I can get it to load, I would love it to do that. All right. Oh, sweet portfolio day. Hell yeah. Okay, let's take a look at some orts. Ah, this is so cool. I love your art. Just FYI, I love your art. Pop says, I have a theory. There are two kinds of artists. People who never draw horses and people who only draw horses. That makes so much sense and are very good. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, I tried. I really tried. But let's take a look at some Pop art. Where are they? Show and tell screen. There we go. Okay. Please look. My god, this is so... I love the way you did the shading on this one. Everything about it is just so stinking cool. It's so stinking cool. It is. And also, hello. If you like lovely ladies, definitely go. Oh my god, this rocks. In spite of it all, we persist. That's such a mood. That is such a mood. Also, just like a mood. But yeah. Our friend Pop here is an incredibly skilled artist, does some very, very cool stuff. Again, also some very hot ladies, which I am 100% here for. It's just really, really cool work. And your art good. Thank you so much for sharing. Let me get another shout out for you in the chat. I love it. I love to see it. And also, they're just a super rad person. Yay! Yep. Extremely. Hello. Anyways, I'm. Oh no. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. If you're actually, you know what? If you're curious as to what my artwork looks like when I'm done, because this work is very much not done, let me show you a thing that's done. I don't know, I never used to do, like, landscapey type stuff. Pop is very good artist in Best Fae. I wholeheartedly agree. You are 100% correct, Luna. That is right. I do a lot of watercolory stuff. I literally never used to do backgrounds at all, and then I just sort of, like, somehow my brain paradigm shifted and was like, you only do landscapes and, like, cityscapes. Forget how to draw people. I'm trying to claw back remembering how to draw people at the moment, but here's a piece that I did, like a month or two ago. It is semi-inspired, I would say, by, an Anne of Green Gables kind of vibe. Or at least that was, I think, what was at the back of my mind when I ended up drawing in those two little adventurers, except they are even gayer than the books. Because I said so. I already did the hydrate redeem, but I'm going to take another sip anyways. Continues to be apple cider cinnamon spice tea, which is so good. It's stone cold now, but it's still delicious. Anyways, yeah, this is a piece that I did recently with, I call this watercolor palette my frog and toad palette. Because it's got that very sort of like orange and green vibe, which is very much the vibe of, if you're familiar with the Frog and Toad books by Arnold Noble, also very gay. Is a very orange and brown and green vibe. I'm using a different palette today. This is my Lunar Red Rock palette, because I took a representative rainbow of colors and blended them all with Lunar Red Rock, which is a lovely granulating pigment from Daniel Smith Paints, which I'm very fond of and I think blends really well with everything else. Here's another piece I completed recently. I haven't posted anywhere yet. Anyone who's here before the raid has already seen it, but you get to look at it again. I'm sorry, it's Star Trek. But I'm not sorry, because damn it, I think this turned out really cute and I'm proud of it. Please note that our resident Cardassian tailor does have a vintage Cardassian treadle machine in the back there, and he does use it, and it goes tuck 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 when it sews, and it's nice because I said so. It's canon now. I don't think any of the writers on that show understood how sewing works, but unfortunately I do, so I can do what I want anyways. Is that Bashir-esque's Jurassic Scout? It sure is. It sure is. He's getting his measurements done. He's getting his measurements done because because they can't just be normal about it and go on a real date. That's why. But thank you. I'm glad you approve. But today I'm waiting for this sky to dry. Though I guess I could start painting in sort of like a base layer of grass down here while I'm waiting for that to dry, because we've got the intermediary layer of all of the shrubs and trees and stuff back there. This is actually somewhat based on a photo that I took hundreds of years ago. It's been 84 years since I visited the New Forest, which is somewhere in the south of England, and took this photo of a horse. And I am turning it into this because I can. I've also got this photo of trying to get some pictures of some background horses, and they're so tiny. They're so tiny, and their little bodies make no sense, and their legs are sticks. But I'm trying my best. Anyways, I don't really hang out with horses very often, so I don't have a lot of reference photos, but this one was fine. I think I did an okay job of capturing their weird foot shapes, but oh, who knows. Anyways, how are y'all doing? How are you? I hope you are well. I hope we don't dive back into the horrors of centaur anatomy, which I got stuck on earlier on stream. But if you have any questions about centaur anatomy, I can't confidently answer them, but I will commiserate. But I hope you all had good weekends. I did. I made a slight. Okay, so here's the thing. When I got married 11 years ago, as of this past Saturday, we had a wedding cake. And when I say we had a wedding cake, I mean I spent the day before the wedding just baking batch after batch of cakes, right? I can show you, actually. I can show you our wedding cake. So I made cupcakes because they were easiest to transport. But for the two of us, why are you not loading? For the two of us, I had a little heart-shaped springform tin. And so I made a little... They were Black Forest cakes, by the way. Oh, thank you for the happy anniversaries. They were Black Forest cakes. So I made a little, 2-serving heart-shaped Black Forest cake for my spouse and I. And we put little, Legos of us in formal wear on the top of it. And so for our anniversary this year, I was like, I want to make the cake again because it's still our favorite kind of cake. We both like Black Forest cake the best of all cakes. So it was the obvious choice, right? Anyways, oh god, this is embarrassing with my face. I mean, he's beautiful. Look at my beautiful moderator / spouse. Is he the loveliest person you've ever seen in your life? Yes, the answer is yes. My wedding flowers. That's us the other day. That's us on Saturday. There it is. Okay, that's the photo I was looking for. So I remade our wedding cake, but I have some dietary restrictions I didn't have back then, so I had to use a blend of gluten-free... I decided to try a blend of gluten-free plain flour and oat flour, because, I find that just the gluten-free plain flour that you can just buy from the shops has a bit of a grittiness to it sometimes that I don't like texturally. So I thought if I blended it with oat flour, I might be able to get away with it not having that effect. Oh, Luna says we're cute. Thank you. That's very sweet. I'm the tiny one that's 5 feet tall, with the long hair. Just in case you're curious. But this was our cake, that we had this weekend. And the one thing was that it was a little bit denser than the original cake was. And I'm not sure, but the thing is, I don't know if it's a little bit denser because of the gluten-free flours that I was using, the oat flour and the, gluten-free AP flour. I don't know if it's that made the cake a little bit denser, or, as I noticed after putting the cake in the oven, the bicarbonate of soda that I used as the leavening in the cake expired in 2023. And I have a sneaking suspicion that might be why the cake was a little bit dense. Yeah, I think oop is the right word for that, Luna. And I said, listen, I am a prolific baker. I don't know why I didn't have any bicarb that was actually in date. I think I must have used up the bicarb that was in date, and this just never got thrown away, as you do. You see, okay, maybe this is just an ADHD thing, I don't know. But sometimes I'll see something in the kitchen and be like, geez, that's out of date. I should probably throw that out. But I'm like, no, I should hold on to it to remind me that I need to buy a new one. And then I buy a new one, and the new one just sits in front of the old one forever. And I don't actually throw out the old one. Or I'll be like, oh, geez, I really need to throw that out. But I'm like, oh, man, but the garbage bag is, really full. And I'm going to need to take that out to, the bins in the next day or two. So I'll put this in the next bin bag, because this bin bag's already full. But I don't have the time or the spoons to take the bins out right this very minute. Maybe the sun's gone down. I don't like taking the bins out after dark. It's grim and scary out there. I want to do it during the light, and there's not a lot of that this time of year. So I find myself being like, I really need to throw away this expired item. But I can't take the bins out now because it's too spooky. And then I end up holding on to, there's just, an out-of-date pot of yogurt taking up space in the fridge for, weeks. Whoops! Oh, no! Anyways. Okay, I want this area to be a significant amount greener than the sky was. Are you going to make Prince of Garrick measuring Bashir? Why, funny you should ask that, Jurassic Scout. It's funny you should ask that. As a matter of fact, in probably about 10, depending on when the delivery date ends up being, I will be having a shop update this month. Probably in 10 to 12 days. I literally sent them off to be printed yesterday night. So, I'll keep you posted. I do have a shop. Did that just... Oh, thanks, Tals. I was like, did that just pop up of its own accord at the same time? Thank you, Tals, for the exclamation mark shop. And can you ship to the US? I do. I do. Yes. I ship most places at this point. It is yes. Anyways, unfortunately, before I can paint the grass, we're about to go into ads. So I'm going to pop on the It's an Ad Break time screen so you don't miss anything. Because I wouldn't like you to miss things. So we're going to have a little break. In the meantime, have a drink, have a stretch, do all that jazz. Take your meds if you need to. Hello, Sammy Ann. I'm sorry we're just about to have a break. Ads are going to run in a second, so I'm going to leave so you don't miss anything. BRB, everybody. Sweet, the ads are done. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the BRB music, if you did. Anyways, what's for dinner, chat? I know I ask this question like every time, but what's for dinner? What are we having today? Are we having something nice? I hope so. I'm making lentil soup, and to this very moment, I genuinely have not decided what manner of lentil soup it should be. By which I mean I haven't decided whether or not I want to go with a more Indian-inspired spicing situation or a more Eastern European-inspired spicing situation. I just don't know. It's a wide question and I have not an answer for it. Oh no. I am adding like every color to this green. This green is a mess now. This green has blue in it. This green has yellow in it. This green has green in it. It's going to be a very multi-dimensional green. It's probably going to end up looking brown. Who knows? Leftover stir fry, Tals. That sounds so good. Hell yeah. I love that for you. Oh man, I love stir fry. I'm actually having stir fry tomorrow. Yippee. Yay me. I just remembered that. But tonight I'm having lentil soup. I've got some yogi to garnish it with, and regardless of which one I make, it's gonna have some spices and some lentils, obviously. But yeah, I genuinely can't decide. I think I'm probably gonna go for Eastern European style lentil soup because I don't think I've done that in a while. Also, it's dead simple. My recipe for Easter. It's one of those recipes where you're like, this can't be that good. This cannot, with the simplicity of ingredients you're putting in this, there's like nothing in this. This isn't going to be good. And then you make it and you're like, what the hell? This is the most delicious and flavorsome thing I've ever put in my mouth? How? And you question everything you thought you knew about cooking because it is truly a marvel of deliciousness. That is the Eastern European lentil soup that I will be making. I have just now unilaterally decided this evening. Rainbow, says Savvy Ann. You know what? I am aiming for some multi-dimensional color shifts and granularity. It is true. As you may well know, I do enjoy a little bit of granularity in my landscaping tints. For some reason, the area near the masking fluid in some of these spots is also apparently resisting having wetness put on it, even though there's no masking fluid there. It's just next to the masking fluid, and it's still kind of beating up and not wanting to be painted on. How strange. Okay, we're just gonna drop some green on here and see how it looks. Ooh! I like it. Me likey. Good. It's kind of a muted green, which I want here, because really I want the background to be sort of a muted green to teal kind of set of shades because I really want the flames of the fire horse to pop out against it. And I think this is the best way we're going to be able to achieve that, is to use complementary colors. Jurassic Soul is lurking to work on chores. Have a lovely, lovely lurk. I hope your chores go well. Luna says, I had a plan, but now I can't remember what I wanted to make for dinner. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Tofu and edamame, says Tals. Oh, yum. Double soy. Absolutely delicious. Excellent source of protein and fiber. We love to see it. I don't cook with edamame that often. I usually just get it sort of if I'm out at, like, you know, if I'm grabbing, like, fast food sushi from, like, Itsu or Wasabi or whatever, I will get myself a little poto of edamame beans. But I haven't cooked with them in a really, really long time, because I'll, like, buy a bag and then I'll just forget I have them. But I bought myself a bag of edamame beans with my last online grocery shop, and I'm like, damn it, this time for sure. I'm going to become a person who regularly cooks with edamame. I'm going to put them in weird salads. I'm going to have them with steamed rice and salmon. I'm going to put them in my stir fries. I'm going to do all the things with the edamame because I heckin' love edamame. It's so yummy. It's one of my favorite veggies. And I never cook with it, which is silly. I should start doing that. And now I own it. I have a bag, and therefore I'm going to feel guilty if I don't use it, because I don't like wasting food. So there you have it. Hooray. Anyways, here's our HONSE so far. And as this went down a nice sort of muted green, I can already see the places in which the pigments are kind of separating out from each other, and I can see a little bit of red, and I can see a little bit of the green floating on top, and it's all looking very cool, I hope / think. Hooray. Good. Yay. Yippee. But yeah, that's my tonight's dinner is lentil soup. And I love a lentil soup. I love lentils. One of the things I love about lentils is that you can buy them as a dry bean, which is so cheap. And I love cheap food. But they cook super quickly. Because, like, I bought a bag of dry chickpeas, and I'm like, it's great that they're super cheap. And cooking your own chickpeas from dry is so delicious. Like, they are the yummiest. Pro tip from a pro chef here. If you want god tier chickpeas, cook them from dry with, first, like, brine them overnight, basically, like leave them in salted water, genuinely. It's not going to ruin your beans. They will be delicious. Brine them overnight, drain that off, give them a rinse, and then cook them in, sort of a pot of water with some onion, some garlic, and some strips of lemon zest, like a lemon's worth of lemon zest strips, and salt, and cover that with I would say like a tablespoon of olive oil, and just let that simmer until they're fully cooked. These will be the most delicious chickpeas you've ever had in your life, and also the stock that they cooked in, because it's got onions and garlic and aromatics and stuff in it. Oh, chef's kiss, delightful. You want to throw bay leaf in there? I've never done it, but that would be super good. Okay, sorry, I'm waxing poetical about beans now. This is normal behavior. Anyways, I don't think we're gonna finish this painting today, but hey, you know what? We started it, and that's good. I say that in part because I would love to paint in this midsection here. Currently it looks like a cursed Oreo cookie. But I have to let this dry first, otherwise this layer will bleed into this layer, and I don't really want the landscape to be bleeding. That's not really the vibe I'm after here. So I just gotta wait it out, I guess. But I like these base colors. I think they're really popping. I actually do I want this to be more can I saturate this a little bit harder? I'm gonna, because I've started. And I think that'll be better. And then sort of the wall of, like, trees and shrubs and stuff behind this will be even darker. My moderator / spouse is home. Yay! This is my favorite part of the day. My best friend has come home. Okay, hopefully it won't dry too much in the process of my going to say hello to him. But BRB, everyone, I'm gonna go say hello to my moderator/spouse. One moment, please. Darling! Hi, baby. I'm so glad you're home. This is my favorite part of the day. I love you so much. Go for him. Okay. You happy? Okay. Do you want the heat on?
I want to do that. You set that on straight.
I'll put the heat on for you. Yes, you do. I love you. Hi. I returneth from the hellos. As I say, that's my favorite part of the day, is when my moderator/spouse comes home. Annoyingly, I don't tape my paintings down because I need to be able to turn them at any moment in any direction whatsoever, which means that the paper often wants to go madly off in its own directions quite a bit, which can have really interesting effects sometimes, but also sometimes means that, like, sometimes the paint water wants to pool in areas where I would rather it didn't quite so much, and less so in areas where I wish it would. Like, why is the paint resisting spaces that aren't actually painted with the thingy? You know, thingy. Oh, come on, brain. Masking fluid, but is like next to the masking fluid. I don't know. It's a strange phenomenon. Maybe just because it's like kind of raised weirdly in those spots. I don't know. But never mind. We will continue. And I guess I'm just gonna futz with this watery paint until it's kind of dried, or it's starting to dry in places, which it will. But it's nice having the paint as wet as this when you're doing when you're using a very granulating multi-pigment blend, such as I am for this piece, because it gives you really interesting sort of color separation effects. And I think you can really see that with the sky now. I don't know how well it shows on camera, but you can see, like, the blue is kind of floating on top of the sort of red that's also in there, and also there's a little bit of green happening. It just makes it it just gives it a lot more of that kind of visual interest. And it's certainly most of the watery stuff that's floating on top here is the green pigment, and then there's some, like, blue and the like deep red that's kind of hanging around under it. So it's making the grass, I think a little more interesting than it would be if we hadn't done that. So, you know, that's neat. I hope it's neat. Anyways, I'm having fun. Now I'm just manipulating paint, because again, I can't start another section until this is dry. So we're probably not going to get that much more done on this piece today. Oh no. Oh well, so it goes. But I've had a lot of fun today. I hope you've had fun too. It's been a very good time. And I think that bloop, bloop. And I hope this piece is going to be fun. I do. I like getting to do. I think I just didn't have time. I think I was either in a weird space, or I was working on something that kind of took away some of my time this time last year. So I didn't have the chance to do a piece specifically for the Lunar New Year, and I felt really not awesome not getting to do it, because it is really fun just figuring out how to incorporate, like, whatever the animal and the element is. And because it's Lunar New Year, it feels really appropriate that the paint palette I'm using this year is like the anchor color, or mom, as it's known in the art community, is Lunar Red Rock, which is a red from Daniel Smith paint. Other paint manufacturers are available. In fact, that's the only paint in this set that is from Daniel Smith paint. The rest of them are made by Schminke. But I think Daniel Smith is the only company that makes this color, I believe. I mean, it's a pigment. The like pigment index number will be something that is used by other companies as well, but like this specific application of it, because you know you can process the same pigment in different ways and produce different colors with it, which is quite cool. Anyways, in fact, let me see if I can find it, just out of curiosity. Let's take a look. This is the only lunar color that I own. But I really like this. I really like this color. I think it's very pretty. It is, yeah, it's PR 101. Which is... transparent oxide red. This is a specific application of it. And here's what it looks like according to the manufacturer in its just like standard form. So, you know, you kind of have an idea of, I took an equivalent amount of this pigment and blended it out with each of the other paints in this rainbow, which is a really nice way of creating a palette of paints that the colors feel a little bit more coherent than just like a standard rainbow of colors. So I've done this a few times with a few different palettes for a few different sort of color moods, I guess you could say. The more this is sitting, the more I'm seeing that red pigment that is kind of hanging out in here among the green. The green is kind of floating on top of it, and the red is kind of settling in. It's very fun. Yeah, I've had a few different rainbows of paint colors. I'm quite picky about what paints I use because I really prefer them to be light fast. Now, I say this as someone who rarely takes original paintings and like hangs them up anywhere. They just end up in sort of piles of paintings most of the time. I don't really sell originals. I do have a shop, but I don't really sell originals unless you wanted like a commission. But just in terms of like my original paintings, they're just a bunch of recent ones are just hanging out here. Here's one. They're just sort of sitting in a cozy little stack. Hi, baby. My moderator / spouse just cleared his throat, but I think he was just clearing his throat because he didn't follow it up with saying anything to me. Unless, did you want something, babe? Okay, off stream then. Anywho, but yeah, it's a really fun way to. I saw someone describe it as basically like an Instagram filter, like an instantaneous Instagram filter for your paintings. You're doing a landscape or whatever. Just drop a bit of the same color into every other color, and it will just make things feel more cohesive. Though I will say with a caveat, as someone who's worked with many colors of paint, some pigments play ball better than others. Also, be mindful, I guess, of what is the temperature of the color that you are blending into. This will give you different effects. You know what I mean? Like, if you're taking, let's say you want to make like a yellow, like a more sort of like a gold color, so you're putting like yellow and orange together into a sort of somewhere between yellow and orange, you know, one of those colors where I'm not really sure whether I'd call this yellow or orange, to be perfectly honest. Let's say you're making that, right? It's gonna be different if you've got, say, if your yellow is like neutral or warm toned to begin with, you're probably going to get a nicer blend. Whereas if your yellow, perhaps unbeknownst to you, or perhaps on purpose if this is what you're going for, is more cool toned and is actually leaning a little bit more towards green as a yellow, adding orange to it might give you a little bit more of a muddier brown-ish gold effect, which might be what you want. But it's something to bear in mind when you're making one of these blendy sets, to be mindful of what is the base color that you're blending your anchor into. Is it a warmer example of this color, or is it a cooler example of this color, or is it just like straight down the middle as neutral an example of this color as you're going to get? Because that is going to yield you potentially significantly different results when you mix them together. You know, if you've ever tried to take a blue and a red and make purple and you're like, why is this brown? That would be why. You're using a blue that's too green or a red that's too orange. And so they're not, you know, if one of them is veering too close to the other one's complement, you're not going to get probably the sort of vibrant result that you're looking for. Sammy Jens says experimenting with paint techniques are fun, not always successful, but fun. I wholeheartedly agree. I love it. And it's one of the things that I think is one of the real joys of working in traditional, is being able to kind of futz with things in this way. Like just sitting here and like letting this paint roll around until most of it is dry and seeing how the color separations turn out, which are turning out quite... I'm okay. I'm so sorry. Are turning out quite interesting, because I am starting to see the color separation. Like if you look up here, you can see the little sort of flecks of red among the green, and it's still definitely green, but there's other stuff going on. And I think especially since this is the grass and the earth and that kind of thing, it works in terms of giving it that sort of dimensionality as kind of the base color for our stuff, I hope. Anyways, I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more painting before I'm going to have to go cook dinner. So I'm probably not going to stay on too much longer. But I would like this to dry, if at all possible. That would be nice. And then we can come back and maybe finish this next time. Who knows? But I'm having so much fun, I don't want to leave. Anyways, we never did establish definitively what the preferred trouser configuration for horses or centaurs would be. And honestly, I don't think there needs to be one. I think it's probably down to the personal preference of the HONSE or HONSE person as they prefer. A centaur... Okay, there's a question. A centaur wearing dungarees. This complicates things. So as you may know, a pair of dungarees as seen upon a human is, you know, like it's a pair of trousers, but it's also got a section that kind of comes up and covers like your midsection up to your chest, and then has little straps that hook around, you know, dungarees, overalls, that kind of thing. You've probably seen them. If you haven't, let me find a photo. Here we go. Here's some corduroy dungarees. They're on discount. This is not sponsored. This is just like one of the first results for dungarees that I found on Google. That wasn't Shein. But this is what dungarees look like. So my question to you is, if you are a centaur, how do you wear your dungarees? Are you wearing them just on the back legs and then you've got like a really long sort of bib portion and straps? Or are you wearing them kind of all the way up to like your human waistline and like the entire horse portion is covered? This is a question I've never had to answer before. But it's gonna bother me now. Tal says back of centaur sticks out the butt flap in the old timey dungarees. Oh my god, yes, there would need. I feel like a butt flap would be very useful, because otherwise, like the absolute palaver of taking off a pair of dungarees. The absolute palaver of taking off a pair of dungarees to, like, go to the bathroom as a centaur is unthinkable, frankly. Oh my god. Every day I wake up and count my blessings that I was not born with the lower body of a horse. Because frankly that would be, as far as I'm concerned, a logistical nightmare all of the time. And I would hate it. We've already established on this stream that I do not really understand horse anatomy. It baffles and frightens me. So, I'm happy I'm not a centaur, I guess. I'm trying to straighten out some of the little buckles in the paper so that I can get the paint to move around a little bit. But yeah, I count my blessings, I suppose, that I myself am not a centaur. But yeah, I feel like you'd want like a, it's just, maybe they just don't wear dungarees. I don't know. Am I gonna regret if I Google centaur dungarees? There are going to be no search results for this. I feel like this is reasonably done. No, actually, you know what? The first result for centaur dungarees, for some reason, is just a pair of dungarees on a human. I have bought several pairs of trousers from that brand, but again, not sponsored. This is not an endorsement. Oh man, no, screw it. No, I'm mad now. I went to image results search, and again, for some reason, a whole bunch of shop listings from Lucy and Yak, and some AI nonsense, which does not explain how a centaur would wear dungarees, because AI doesn't care about the laws of physics. And it's nonsense that has been brought to us by a dogshit predictive text calculator that steals your art. So, get in the bin, frankly. I'm not prepared to solve this problem unilaterally today, but it's pretty to think about. I mean, no, it's not. It's traumatic to think about, but anyways. I think I'm going to call it there for today, because this is still drying, and it's going to be still drying for a while. There's a little... I need to stop futzing with this, basically. I really need to stop futzing with this. I'm just gonna, you know what? And then I keep doing this. I'm like, okay, I'm done futzing with this, and then I futz just a little bit more, just a little bonus futzing. I'm gonna stop futzing with it. We've done as much as we can today, and we're gonna come back and do the trees and the horses next time. This is not a super complicated landscape. I'm gonna try and keep it relatively simple. Anyways, thank you for sticking with me through the terrifying horse talk. Apparently this is just what happens when I think about horses, because horses are confusing and make no sense. Anyways, let's see if I can find someone who's not just about to finish streaming, if at all possible. That would be super great. Maybe someone that we have not been able to raid in a little while. That would be nice. But yeah, anywho, actually, yeah. You know what? Let's just check and make sure that this person is not about to end. And then I will send us in the direction of a little raid. Thank you again to everyone who was hanging out today. Thank you to Elove and to Jam and Pop for the raids. I do appreciate you all. And to everyone who stuck around through the raids, everyone who followed, I very much appreciate it as well. What was the username? There they are. Okay. Okay. Please do. Yay! Okay, Ikeman has basically just started. So let's go say hi to Ike, who's doing some cool stuff. And does some cool stuff, if you're not familiar. They're really nice. Is it... Okay, the raid has started. For some reason, it always gets a little, when I try to start a raid, it always gets a little bit chuggy. But we seem to be good to go. And hopefully this will be a nice soft place for us to land. So let's pop in some, hi. We're here to say hello. Generic raid messages. If you have the emotes, feel free to grab the raid message with the emotes. If you do not have the emotes, you can just say generic raid message and or append any cool emotes that you do have. It's all good. I've had so much fun hanging out with y'all today and having some very interesting conversations about color theory and paint pigments and cloacas. So thanks y'all for hanging out. And I hope to see you again soon. I'll be back on Thursday continuing this piece, which is only mildly cursed at the moment, so I feel good about that. I think it's going to turn out really, really cute. I'm hoping that the flames will really pop against these very cool toned background that I've got going at the moment. And yeah, thanks everybody. It's going to kick us out in a second, so I'd better say goodbye. So, thanks for watching everybody. Have a lovely rest of your week. I'll be back on Thursday. Hope to see you again soon. Take care everyone. Good night and good luck.